BAPU Degree College organizing International Conference on Decoding Aliphatic Components of Health, Performance, and Well-being, in associated with Physical Education Foundation of India, Karnataka Chapter, Life Saving Sports Federation of India, and Allied Sports Academy. I welcome all of you for Technical Session 7, Keynote Address. Dear participants, in this session, we will be learning a lot about how to groom an athlete from the beginning to the podium. And for this, I would like to welcome Mr. Lohit international fencer, who has completed his diploma in fencing. He's trained many of the fencing athletes to win national and international medals. He's also an international technical official in fencing. He has been the coach of the Indian fencing team on many occasions, wherein the participants were also able to win medal at international stage. He has been a member of a selection committee of Karnataka state team and also Indian fencing team. I once again, on behalf of organizing committee of international conference, welcome you to render the keynote address on long-term athlete development program. Welcome, Mr. Lohit. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dilip. Well, firstly, I would like to thank the organizing committee for having me here. So I would like to thank all the panel members who are also going to give the keynotes along with me. And yes, of course, a big thank you to the organizing committee. I can, definitely, I can go ahead and share my screen, and we can start on the today's topic. Well, first and foremost, as you all aware, that today we are going to talk about long-term athlete development. So that's the topic for today. And so, as you know, so the name itself says that it is a long-term athlete development program that we are actually looking into. So, by the way, so this program that we have made, that I have made, is mainly for fencers, but this can be also, taken to other sports. For example, any other sports which has the age category or very similar to individual sports like fencing. So whatever examples that I'm giving you, yes, since I'm from fencing background, I've been doing it from the last 20 years. So it will be based on fencing, but like I said, you can definitely relate this to most of the other sports also, as it is an individual sport. So most of the things are very much in common, except for a few things that is your specification that needs to be changed. So let's look into this. So first of all, anything that comes up to me, so these are the questions that I ask. Firstly, why, when, what, who, or how. So this is something that needs to be questions, because I believe whatever is coming to you, I think it's very important that you question it with all this question, so that you understand before getting into it what it is, and then how it can be done, and to whom it can be done, and then when is the right time to do it. And most important thing is why you are doing it, because there needs to be a purpose on why you are doing something. So first and foremost thing, I think these are the questions that you need to ask yourself, and then go ahead. So moving on, first thing is what is long-term athlete development? This is very simple. There is a simple definition given. Long-term athlete development is a model, a framework for an optimal training, from competitions to recovery, schedules, and different stages of development of athletes. So this is an overall, I would say, from the grassroots level to an athlete growing into an advanced athlete or a professional athlete. So the entire career is taken, into this consideration for a long term. So it is basically a plan that a coach needs to, have for a particular athlete, for each and every individual. It is not for everybody very common. I think it is very important to have it individually, since it is an individual sport. So it's very important to focus on individual, because every individual is not the same. So we will look into all those aspects as we go through our program today. So moving on, like I said, long-term athlete development is core to everything we should do. It is a framework encompassing every element of fencing. Like I said, it can be for all these sports, which holds the fencer as an athlete as the focus of the sport. As a model, it can act as a driver to all that we do as fencers, coaches, others who support the development of a sport. So here, this long-term athlete development is the name might say it is a long-term athlete development program, but I believe overall it is a coach and a lot of support staff that are also involved into it. So it is very important while you are planning for a long-term athlete development. You need to consider a lot of things. First of all, a coach needs to be well equipped, in terms of whenever you're planning. So that is why when we go back to our first slide, there are so many questions that will be asked on how to do it, or why to do it, and things like that. So these are the things where your role plays in a very it is a very crucial thing as a coach on how you can take this into the next step. Also considering your environment in terms of your coaching environment, the support staff that you have, these things. So these things needs to be considered. So moving on, uh, the LTAD model is based on scientific principles of human growth and development, and allows us to support our young fencers throughout a clearly defined pathway to achieve success on the world stage. So this is an introduction on terms on in terms of what is LTAD, and understanding how this can help overall. And it is a framework which allows the sport to work as on the effectively achieve three main aims. So I did this for my athlete, and keeping in mind three main aims to it. So like I said, why are we doing this? So when you ask that question, so here is the three main thing that I looked into, for our sports, which is fencing. Number one is grow, to give more young people the opportunity to fence. Because if you look at any sport, you need to always give an opportunity to grow. So that is first and foremost thing is bringing in grassroots level, and it starts from talent identification. So all these are part of the growth, that you try to talent squad young people and give as much as opportunity as possible, because you never know where which stone can be turned into a diamond. So it is very important. The first thing is you need to let it grow. Second thing is, once it is grown, it is very important to sustain, to keep more fencers in the sport. So basically it is to keep more athletes. So wherever I say fencers, it can be you can take it as athletes, because it is in general, that is this long-term athlete development program. And then once you have sustained what you meant to, what you have done so far, after the growth stage, you need to sustain, and after that is when you can excel. So you cannot get immediate results when it is in the first stage or the second stage. It is very important that you take that kind of time to start with your growth, and then you sustain that whatever you have achieved so far, and then achieve. So obviously to achieve, so our aim, is to achieve gold medal success on the world stage. So perhaps this is the aim of every coach, to hit the podium, and not just hitting the podium, it is hitting the podium with gold medal. So this is the ultimate target where you excel. So these are the three main aims of the LTAD. So now moving on. So this is something very interesting that I also believe into it, that this is a theory that says it takes 10 years of extensive practice to excel in anything. For you to become, a master in something or to excel, they say you need 10 years of extensive practice. So there is a well-known maxim in sports training, which takes about 10,000 hours of practice to become expert in anything. So this is another thing, 10,000 hours or 10 years. Basically, if you look into this, if you are on an average base, if you are practicing for 3 hours a day for 10 years, and then I think you can achieve this. So here, you can definitely put in more hours of practice to excel in something or to become perfect into it. So this is a theory that has been, that I've seen, and I believe this has a lot of things in common to actually for all these sports or anything that you do in order to become in master in something. I think you need to put that kind of 10,000 hours into it to hit that level of practice or whatever it is. So in any endeavor, the best improvement is when practice is at edge of the ability and is dedicated to what has been called effortful practice. This means that training must be individualized and focused to have the best value. So it is very important, since this is not a team sport. Uh, it has to be very much individualized. But I believe even in team sport, it is very very important that each and every player needs to be individualized and given programs based on what they are capable of. So the best example I can give is, if you're looking at our cricket team, every individual has their own role to play in it. So I think it is very important to have that kind of training and that kind of program for them too. All right, so moving on, like I said, why are we doing this? Why LTAD? So there are many reasons for introducing this long term athlete development system. First and foremost is to establish a clear development pathway from starting fencing to long term success, to allow us to really gain the competition program to best serve the needs of the developing fencer. So if you look at it in a very common way, if you have this long-term athlete development program, it is very clear for the athlete as well as for the coach, and obviously for the parent as well, that where is the student going to go, for a coach to understand, and for the athlete to understand, and for their parents to understand in terms of what can be done in terms of the entire career. Because if you look at our growth in sports, we have come to a stage where a lot of students are taking up sports as a career. So it is very important that we establish a pathway and give them a clarity in terms of how this is going to go in term from different stages to in their sporting uh, career, I would say. Next is to provide a planning tool for coaches and fencers to help every fencer see where they are on the development pathway to improve our success at major championship. It is important to understand that LTAD is not only about providing a foundation for performance, but also for lifelong participation. So this is, like I said, there are athletes who are taking up sports as a career. So this is going to be their lifelong participation. So it is very, very important that if you have an LTAD, like I said, it is not just for the athlete, it is also for a coach to understand what kind of training can be given at what stage. And every tournament, every competition, and every performance can be monitored. And let me also tell you that most of the time we do not have, we suffer from lack of data. Let's say we have had so many athletes participating at so many level, at major competitions like Olympics, Asian Championship, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, Commonwealth Championship, at different levels. But we have not succeeded in many of the tournaments. But when you go back, we do not have a data on why we could not achieve this goal. So this LTAD program gives you an understanding in terms of what this athlete is doing in every stage, how the performance is analyzed, what kind of training can be given at what stage. So this also becomes a tool for us to understand, okay, if this is working out, it is good. If it is not working out, it will help us to perform more research into it and understand why this is not happening. So this is a very good framework, not just for the athletes, like I said, for the coaches as well as the support staffs that are around. So moving on to the fundamentals. So I hope now you have a clarity about what is long-term athlete development program, and why we have to we need to do this at why it is very very crucial, at least at this point of time, when sports is at the peak. So now let us understand the fundamentals. So this is basically, again, like I said, I have prepared this for the fencers, but this can also be related to athletes, of any sport. So first and foremost thing is learning to fence. So I have categorized, age category to, their development stages. So in that, I have made this, categories where, I will explain what each and everything will, go into, and what kind of training we will do in those stages, all these things. So let us understand, these are the four main things. Number one is learning to fence. Number two is training to train, and then there is training to compete, and then there is finally training to win. So these are the different stages. Now we will look at every thing individually, and then I will explain you on this. So first stage is whenever somebody comes to my club, or when I'm training, when I'm recruiting the newcomers. The first thing is stage one, the fundamentals. So here the age is anywhere between 6 to 9 years for a male, and for female 5 to 8 years can start fencing. And so here what we do is we don't introduce them immediately to fencing. So we go into build their overall motor skills. um, so you understand the motor skills are nothing but their coordination, endurance, strength, speed, agility, these things. So we create a fun filled activities where they could participate. And with this, all these motor abilities can be bettered. So there will be a stage where these people would also be introduced to simple rules for fencing, because I understand when they come into that sport, they have to be shown the weapon, or introduced to that sport. But it will be just a formal introduction in terms of giving them making them understand the rules, or how to in order to come into the class. Let's say the best example I can give you is probably how to even hold the weapon. So that will make them happy, that will make them come to the class more often. So along with that, we try to make a lot of fun activities which will develop their motor skills. Because for fencing, you will understand, somebody getting into fencing, you cannot become a fencer in just that one stage. You need to be an athlete first. So we are building an athlete. So that is why I told you it is very important for you to you can relate this fencing LTDA program to all the other sports. Because we don't if let's say a newcomer which is who's about 6 to 9 years, or 5 to 8 years, come into our thing, we don't make them fencers. We first make them athletes, and then we convert them into fencers. So that is why it is very important to develop their motor skills. So this is stage one, which is the basics. So moving on to stage two. So here is when we are learning to fence basically. So let us understand what we are also doing in this stage. And in this, we are focusing on 9 to 12 years for male, and 8 to 11 years for female. So here they are learning core fencing skills. So here they are being introduced to the techniques. So earlier, if I told you that they're just holding weapon, doing just activities with the weapon or without the weapon, whatever it is. We are more focused on making them enjoy, making them come to the sport. So but in this stage, we are slowly moving on in making them understand the core of fencing skills. So we are starting up with techniques. Then there's skill development. So that is basically the techniques. And then at the same time, we are not going to stop with the development of motor abilities. We are going to put in a lot of exercises, and our activities will still be based on developing their motor abilities. But side by side, we are also developing their skills. So this is the stage 2, where we are learning to fence. So during this stage, young fencers should learn how to train and develop the skills of fencing. So fencing is not done through natural movement. It needs, it has a fundamental stance. So it does take some time to learn, and there are some skills that needs to be learned. So additional participation in the other sports should be encouraged. So at the same time, yes, we do encourage them to like weekly once or twice we do have other games, so that they also get into the routine of developing that skill also, in terms of, so that it makes them enjoy that sport. So the ultimate idea in the first and the second stage is to make them enjoy the sport, as well as in the stage 2 we are teaching them skills. So here we start with formal warm up and cooling down. We start with stretching. Then we also help them understand in terms of how hydration is important, and also nutrition. Then we also talk to them about recovery, relaxation, and also focusing. So these are the things that we focus at in the stage 2 process, where we are also teaching them skills. So moving on to stage 3. So this is basically now training to train. So you understood the first stage was just the fundamentals, basics. Then we go into learning to fence. So wherein the skills and everything comes. So now, yes, we are going to train. So this is where our actual training comes into play. So this is where they are moving from basics to an intermediate level. So this is how we could, since this is how I rate, and um, I actually go ahead and rate them according to their skills, whether they are basic fencers or intermediate fencers or advanced fencers. So this is basically the introduction towards intermediate level. So here the age category is somewhere between 12 to 16 in male, and for female it is 11 to 15 years. First thing is, here we are building the training capacity. So whatever training that we are going to put in, we are going to build their capacity so that they can take that kind of training in the future also. So we have this program, like I said, there are about other stages also into it. So keep considering that we are building that training capacity for their future also. And then we are also going to definitely work on the consolidated fencing skills, which is again it will continue, because there are a lot of skills that needs to be mastered in fencing, their attacking skills, their defensive skills, these things. And then individualization of fitness and technical training. So now there is a lot of few individual attention given in terms of their fitness and technical training. Then there is refinement of specific technical skills. Like I said, once they learn their basics of their technical skills, now they will also learn on how to overcome some of the other technical skills which they have not learned. And then so this is a stage where we introduce them to the tactical preparation also. So now that they have learned some of the techniques, so now we are also introducing them to the tactical preparation, because now they need to understand when these kind of techniques can be used in what kind of situation. So it is just the fundamentals of tactical preparation that goes into in this stage. And then since fencing is a 60-40 sport, in terms of 60% is your mental preparation and 40 is your physical strength. This is a stage where we introduce, to mental preparation. So it is very important, not just for fencing, I believe, apart from few power sports, I think it is very, very important to introduce mental preparation and mental conditioning for all these sports. I believe this should be part of your any of your training programs. Then comes the moral learning. So all this will be part of stage 3. So moving on here, at this stage, it is very important to keep the focus of the fences on training and not too much on the competition. So if you look at some of the coaches, once they start learning the techniques itself, and they are introduced to fundamentals of tactics, they put them into competition. And also, let's say, yes, you need to put them into competition, but not that kind of competition where it is a very huge competition, where it is, where they would, go ahead and compete with somebody of not their level. I think it should be a competition which is, let's say, between your own club, or maybe it's just a weekly competition among your own fencers. So this kind of competition can be conducted, or very simple competitions can be, participated. But here, this is where I think, you shouldn't be focused more on the outcomes of the thing. So there should be increased emphasis on goal setting for each competition. In this phase, skill acquisition is best done in short sessions of intense activity. So here, when you're, preparing your, let's say, your weekly training schedule, your maybe, let's say, yearly program, which is your, mesocycle, or your microcycle, or let's say, whatever training program that you are doing. I think it is very important now that you have, need to make sure that the skills are perfect. Perfection of skills and techniques are very important in this phase. And you shouldn't be, keeping a lot of hopes from the outcomes of the competition. And you can keep small goals, let's say, based on what, you know the student outcome is. I think you can give small targets on how, we have league, and then, we go to knockout, and then we start from direct elimination from, table of 64, 32. So I think you can start with, maybe you can ask them to clear the pool or the league. So that itself is a big deal. Or maybe, going on to win one or two bouts in their pool competition. So this is something, this is an example that I can give. So I think in this, short sessions are very important, which means that, you can focus on the perfection. So because when you are, I think, dragging on, having a longer sessions, so I think, it wouldn't yield more. So I believe short sessions of intense activity is more important in stage 3. Now moving on to stage 4. So now, yes, once we complete stage 3, where we were, training, to train, and we were, putting in a lot of efforts into it, in terms of perfecting the skills and techniques, and also participating in very few competitions, not major ones, and not expecting much results. Now we are going to, so this is a stage where you are training to compete. So here I'm looking at age category, 16 to 20 for male, and if it is female, it is 15 to 18 years. So here again, we are working on the next level of consolidated fencing skills. So whatever they have learned, plus in terms of, what they can do in order to overcome if they have been beaten in the kind of skills that they already have. So we have competitive physical development, which is also happening side by side, fencing and individuals specific physical conditioning. Now they are also being introduced to basic tactical preparation. So finally, since we are training to compete, we are, now doing the basic tactical preparation, and individualization of technical tactical skills are being done. So there is a lot of one-on-one session that is being done, in order to prepare tactically, because here in fencing, a coach becomes an opponent, and gives lesson in terms of tactical preparation also. So it is very important to have one-on-one sessions, and focus on technical as well as tactical skills. uh, in the last session, you saw we are just introducing them to mental preparation. Now we have moved to basic mental preparation. So now they are doing certain tasks. There are few outcomes of that task. So they are understanding what this mental preparation is all about. So we are doing the basics of it now. And then we have development of fencing and individual specific knowledge and experience. So this is happening side by side. So during the stage, there should be an increase in the intensity of training. The aim is to keep the total volume up while gradually increasing the intensity. Fencers should be carefully monitored for injury at this time. So since this is a stage that they're training to compete, there are a lot of chances for injury because they are giving everything, and let's say their intensity is way much more compared to the other stages. So that is why it is very important that that they are monitored, if they have been injured or not, or if they are injured, what can be done, and how the training program can be altered in terms of their injury. The overall training plan should be based around double periodization, which fits with the selection year for fences of this age. So basically, if you are looking at every stage, so we were talking about ages for male and female. Since fencing is an age category sports, it is the only combat sport without a weight category sport. It is very important that you focus on the age, and I will also tell you on why there was different age in terms of male and female. However, since you're already working on let's say an yearly program, I think it's very important that your competition time. I think so this is where you will be training into. So you will have your preparation stage, and then competition stage, and then so your overall training plan should be based around double periodization, which fits with the selection year of fencers of this age. So when you are doing your program for a year, wherein you have this preparatory stage, competition stage, and the transition period. So basically, what you do is, if they are capable of going into the competition stage, then yes, you can, go ahead for the training to compete program, and then I think you can do that. Or else, I think you can definitely go ahead and do the double periodization, where you can stretch the preparation period for a longer time. And then yes, if they are not prepared, I think you can go for minor competitions, like I said, and then see which would be best for that particular fencer, at based on the age also, in terms of the training age as well as the developmental age. So moving on, so competitions should be carefully targeted while fencers tactical skills are being developed. So here in stage 4, it is very, very important that you need to plan in order to participate in certain competitions. You cannot, just because there is a competition, just because there is a national championship or a state championship, or I understand it is very important. You shouldn't, just go for it. You are training to compete. Yes, we understand, but you also need to understand based on what kind of technical skills and tactical skills are being developed. So based on that is when we need to target the competitions, and then participate in it. And fencers' knowledge of other sports skills, example warm up, nutrition, hydration, etc., should be refined and individualized at this stage. So let's say in stage 4, we are training to compete. So here, yes, they will be going out in participating in competitions. So it is not that every competition you are going to accompany them. So it is very important that you also teach them in order to warm up themselves, cool down themselves, and also they have adequate knowledge of nutrition in terms of what they should be eating before the competition or after the competition, or whenever they are traveling, how they can keep themselves hydrated. So all these things needs to be individualized, so they shouldn't be banking on you for everything. Even though you are the coach, yes, they should be they should not be dependent on you when they're traveling alone. Since I have experienced this, since I cannot travel with all my competitors to all the competitions. So this is where this is very very helpful in terms of when they go and do everything on their by themselves. So it's important that this has been done at this stage. So finally, moving on to stage 5 is when we are training to win. So here is when you need to focus on the results. So there are two things that you can um, think of. One is you can either be process oriented or result oriented. So if the entire stages that we saw from 1 to 4 are the stages where we are building in a process basically. Yes, the ultimate goal is to win, but if you are just focused on winning from stage 1, so I don't think you can achieve the best performance from your athlete or fences, whatever it is. So when you come to this stage, so you understood what you were doing in all the other stages. So when you think they are ready and they have satisfied in whatever aspects or ratings that you have. So since this is based on fencing, I did not put in a lot of technical things, but you can put in a lot of skills according to your own sport, and then rate them according to the sport. So it is not that okay, they have done for 2 years, they have done for 3 years or 5 years, so I'm moving him to a different stage. No, this has to be evaluated by you at every stage in terms of what is the thing that you are expecting from them, and then move to the different stage. It cannot, there could be somebody who could achieve uh, stage 3 in 3 years, or there could be somebody doing for 5 years, but they couldn't have achieved stage 5. So I'm sorry, stage 3. So it is very important that you have to evaluate them based on your own sports skills. So if they are able to do that skill and perform the technique or tactic, and so based on that you can move them to different stages. So here like I said, so this is where, yes, you can also win. You are basically training to win. So let's see what are the things that are part of this training to win stage. So here the age category is between 20 to 25, and it goes on 25 plus. For female it is 18 to 23 years. So maximizing performance. So whatever their performance has been, so once you have evaluated those performance, so you can go ahead and maximize their performance on whatever they're capable of, because every athlete or every athlete has their own maximum capacity. So this is the stage where you bring in the maximum performance from them. Specialization and performance, so whatever they're specializing in, whichever event they're specializing in, or whatever technique they're specializing in, so you need to bring the best outcome of that. High level competition development. So here is when you are competing at high level with all elite athletes at national level or international level. Next is modeling all possible aspects of training and performance. So at this stage, you can model all possible aspects of training and performance. Frequent short breaks for injury prevention. So like I said, that when you're already training to compete, so you can definitely expect injuries. So it is very important that you prepare your program at this stage, that they also get adequate breaks for injury prevention. So you cannot keep pushing them just because they are at a certain level and they are moving on. You cannot ignore the injury. So you need to make sure that they also get that short break, and they come back from the rehab and then start. So I think that is why short breaks are very important in order to prevent that injury. Then comes advanced tactical and psychological preparation. So this is the stage where they are, since they have learned all the techniques. So coming to stage 5, which means they have they have known all the skills and techniques. So now they are going for advanced tactical. So now we are creating a lot of situations in terms of how they can use that technique in that particular point of time. So we are creating a lot of situations. We are giving them that kind of environment where they have experienced, and then there is an advanced psychological preparation too in terms of how they are mentally prepared for the tournaments. Or let's say the best example I can give you is advanced psychological preparation can be particular to a certain opponent. So let's say you or certain place. So there are athletes where they perform really good, but at certain places they might not be able to perform well, or at certain opponents they may not be able to perform well, or at certain region, there are few things that has happened. So this is the stage, even though they're doing everything fine, but it is this the psychological thing that they have. The best example I can give you is some of our fencers fear fencing left arm fencers. So since they are not prepared, even though they have learned the skill, they have learned the tactical preparation, everything, but still I think it is their psychological thing that they have in their mind that it's a left hand fencer. Or when they see a tall fencer also, they have this psychological thing. So I think it is very important that they prepare on their mental conditioning at an advanced level, particularly based on what exactly they are going to do next. So this is something develop further ancillary capacities, knowledge and experience, that there is no limit, optimizing of physical capacity. So at side by side, yes, all your physical things are happening. At the same time, there is overall development that is happening. So in this final stage, so this is the final stage of preparation. So because this is a stage where you are just training to win, you are not doing anything else apart from this. So your entire focus is on winning here. So fencers should arrive here having learned and perfected technical and tactical elements of their game. So I already mentioned that there could be a fencer who has been fencing from last 5 to 6 years, but since they have not learned some of the techniques or tactical elements, they cannot be in stage 5. But there could be somebody at 2 or 3 years who could be at stage 5. It is very much possible. It has happened. So it is very important that you need to arrive to the stage only if they have perfected the technical and tactical elements of their game. They are physically and mentally ready to perform at this highest level. So, like I said, training to win is the maximum, the highest level. So they need to be physically and mentally ready for this. Training should be individualized and tailored to individual fencers. So here, the complete training program cannot, should be for that fencer alone. So at this stage, you cannot, even though you are running a club or or a hostel, in that, even though there are so many other fencers along with them, you cannot have training program as they are having for this fencer also. So it has to be a custom made training program for this individual alone. So it is very important that you do that. Speaking for specific competitions and major events. So you need to prepare for specific competitions and major events. Let's say we have zonal tournaments like Asian Championships, certain certain World Cups and Grand Prix. So these are something that you need to focus on the major events. Fencers should now have experience of competing in high pressure situation also. So in this, so when you're arriving to the stage, that means they have also gone through high pressure situations. They have gone through most of the kind of tactical elements and opponents and all kinds of situations that can happen, possibly happen in that particular bout. So this is stage 5, which is training to win. So let me also, let's say I've break it down to percentage in terms of how much, the strength and conditioning, which is the development of motor abilities, should be done, and how much percent should be spent on the skill development, and then the tactical preparation. So the first stage that we saw was fundamentals, the basics. So in the basic, it is 70% is development of motor abilities, and 20% is just the introduction to the skills of the sport, and 10% should be tactical. So all this are again part of your activities that you're designing. It should be like that so that they also enjoy doing that. And then comes the second stage, learning to fence. This 60%, including other sports, is your motor ability, and then 25% is your skills, and 15% is your tactics. Training to train is 40% and 35 and 25. And training to compete is 30, 30 and 40. And then finally, it is training to win is 35, 20, and the remaining 45%. So if you look at the last tactical table here, it is going on increasing as the stages go. So there is a slight so the focus here is in the initial stage when you are about to train is when it reduces to 40% from 70, 60, and then it goes to 40. So this is a stage where they should already be ready, they should already be an athlete, and they should already be physically fit and have to be mastered all the motor abilities that are required for this or any specific game. And then comes the skills. Also, if you see, until the last stage, it goes to 20%, because once you learn all these techniques, there's no point in because you have come to an end of all the techniques of, let's say, attacking techniques, defending techniques, everything. So here is when 45% in the last stage is where you require for tactical development. So that is where you need to balance in terms of how much percentage of what is being done in at different stages. All right, so finally, how are we going to get there? So that's the question. So first and foremost thing is you need to be optimistic. You need to be positive. First thing is you need to believe in something that you have started. So that is why just in the beginning only I told you, you need to have this self belief in terms of when you ask those questions. I think it makes very clear in your mind on why you have started doing this. So when you think of how we are going to get it, I think the first and foremost thing is staying positive, believing in yourself. So this is a quote that which gives me a lot of motivation. So getting ahead in a difficult profession requires avid faith in yourself. That is why some people with mediocre talent but with great inner drive go much further than people with vastly superior talent. Next is sooner or later, those who win are those who think they can. So irrespective of people having the best talent, doesn't mean that if you do not work hard for it, if you do not have faith in yourself, I don't think you're going to get there. So that is why it is very, very important that you start believing in yourself. And even if you feel at the beginning you might have some doubts, so keeping all that in mind, I think going ahead with the regular training and believing in yourself, believing in your coach, believing in the system, I think it's very important that you start doing that to have a positive impact on your results and everything. So the most important thing is staying optimistic and going ahead with this. So with this, uh, we have come to the end of our session today. I hope you have gained few things that I've shared. So once again, a big thank you to the organizing committee and all the other panel members who will be participating. So thank you very much. Yeah.
First of all, congratulate for the whole fraternity of fencing. As we all know that this time Bhavani Devi was able to represent India in fencing at Olympic Games. It was wonderful presentation. It's indeed the need of the day to concentrate on LTAD, that is long-term athlete development program, for reaping good result at international stage such as Olympic or championship. Thank you once again, Mr. Lohit N. Sir, for your keynote address. Thank you, all of you.